The live stream is setting. It's going. Give it a minute.
You're showing up. You're posting. You're speaking. You're doing everything they told you would grow your business. So why is it not converting? Because visibility is only half the equation. Getting attention is easy. Turning that attention into clients takes strategy. VoiceLab was built to solve that. This is where front-end visibility meets back-end conversion. You learn how to get on stages, create your own platforms, and use podcasts, summits, and workshops to grow your audience and generate real leads. Then you learn what most people never build. A system that captures those leads, follows up, nurtures relationships, and turns interest into revenue. Email and newsletter strategy that actually gets responses. Workflows, not just more noise. Real connection that leads to real business. Inside VoiceLab, you are not guessing. You're learning the how. You're implementing in real time. You're building a business that works even when you are not constantly chasing attention. Because here's the truth. If you don't have visibility, no one knows you exist. If you don't have systems, nothing converts. VoiceLab gives you both, so you can stop performing for attention and start building momentum that pays you back. If you are ready to grow your authority, expand your reach, and finally turn visibility into income, join Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi in the VoiceLab. Scan the QR code, join VoiceLab group on the school platform.
All righty. Good morning and welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. This is the strategic warm-up that makes the rest of your week hit harder. Hot takes, bold moves, and business unfiltered. I am Colleen Stubbs. I am the founder of Simplified CEO Systems, and I help midlife entrepreneurs simplify their business so that they can lead with clarity instead of chaos. In short, I simplify, go high level. I teach my clients how to simplify their business, what to automate and when, what they should delegate and what they should never delegate. Today's guest is Laura Doman, and we're diving into how to stop looking polished but forgettable on camera. And Laura's going to be sharing how to use your presence to build trust faster, which is something we all really want to do and need to do. You're going to walk away with real strategy, real perspective, and probably a few uncomfortable truths because growth doesn't come from your comfort zone. Laura, welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
So excited to have you here with us today. So we met, it's been a little while, and I just love everything you do. Would you please share with us a little bit about your background and what set you up as an expertise in your field?
Absolutely. The long and short of it is I am a corporate turned creative. I did my time in the corporate world, in sales, primarily in the IT industry, and then later in life decided that I wanted to be able to pursue a more creative passion. So the next logical step going from sales, of course, is to becoming an actor. And that's exactly what I did. I am doing, and I still am now, for film, television, commercials, industrials, print, and I do voiceovers and improv. And lo and behold, I found out I was kind of funny. I don't know why. It just sort of, those comedic commercials and all those kind of roles kept coming to me. Well, I also realized during COVID that when people had to turn to video for Zoom and start making things for their own websites, they were having a very, very difficult time. And there's really no way to learn how. I mean, some people have learned how to speak in front of a group, but the camera's a different medium. Other people didn't know how to set it up or how to approach it. So I've been bringing together, while I'm still acting, my experience as a businesswoman with my experience in front of the camera and behind the lens, and I just gel it all together so that experts can figure out how to use this medium the right way. Because in this day and age, you need to be visible. You need to have videos out there, or at least show up. A paper bag just doesn't cut it. It never really did. And what we're finding out is that when people are trying to do a check as to whether we want to do business with you, the first thing they're trying to get a sense of is who you are. Are you somebody I want to talk to that I want to do business with. Do you know what you're talking about? Do you believe you can help me? Can you help me? And oftentimes that first introduction is going to be by video, or maybe even in some sort of a facility like this, where you get to see somebody. But it still boils down to being able to show up as authentically yourself on camera.
I love that. And so I think that what I'm hearing you say is that being approachable, especially on camera, is going to be the first place to start. And that
Yes.
is hard for so many people. I totally understand. When I first started online, I'd never done any, I'm sure my kids had taken some short videos of me doing things with my grandkids maybe, but they were never where I was the focus or I was looking at the camera or anything like that, right? And so to be able to develop that skill of being able to communicate through the camera is a huge plus in business, but it's also a huge stumbling block. And I think that we focus too much on being polished, on making sure everything is perfect. One
Hmm.
of the first apps that I loved online was called InShot, and I loved it because you could record a video and pause or wait and then repeat what you had just said to say it correctly the next time, and then plug the video in, and it would take out those pauses and it would take out the repeats that were wrong. And so I really liked that. I felt like that was a midlife entrepreneur's dream because I struggled with the camera. But I feel like the more we realize and understand that the people we're talking to and communicating with online, that we're trying to build our business with or for, are looking for real connections, that makes a big difference, that really just developing that real connection. And in order to do that, like you're saying, Laura, you have to be authentic. So let's dive into it. What do you have for us today?
Absolutely. And I just want to sort of add on to that. We've got a lot of AI out there. I mean, put yes in the chat if you absolutely adore AI. Can't wait to hear from it. Okay, I'm waiting for that chat to fill up. Oh, we do have a few folks. Okay, you love AI. Great. It is a wonderful tool. How many of you like to be able to see AI filling up your mailboxes and having perhaps a cartoon voice or just somebody sort of reading to you? Oh, it's a love-hate. We like it as a tool, but it's not necessarily the best substitution for true creativity and connection. The real object here is that if people are going to want to talk and listen to what you have to say, they want to get to know who the real human being is. And when you're showing up as human, you are not going to be showing up as perfect. Now, a lot of folks are very worried about, oh my God, I can't show up on camera. I'm going to look awkward. They might see I really don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm too old. My setup isn't right. The real truth of it is people want to see the person there. They do not want to get just an image. They're trying to get a sense of who you are. But you also have to be a little bit more interesting. You can't just go reading a script, using a teleprompter, or just speaking very boring. I mean, does anybody remember this guy? I don't know if you could still see it. What movie is that from?
Ferris
Ferris Bueller, yeah. And you know, he's
Bueller.
probably Bueller. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the most famous lines from that movie. And it worked because the movie had so much going on that to have a guy just standing there, bland and boring, got your attention, and it was funny. Now imagine an entire presentation that way. Hi, we are together to talk about the latest marketing trends in 2026, and we're going to I mean, you're going to fall asleep if you're in the room, most likely. And if you're not, if you're watching it on video, well, the chances are that you might just go, click, I'm gone, because I don't know how many people can handle that. And especially if you are just going to be speaking very self-conscious, you're trying to find that the connection is missing. So what I want to do is kind of bring you my approach. I like to call myself the shameless hussy of on-camera confidence, because you want to show up bold, unapologetically yourself, and you want to be able to be natural and engaging so that you have that one-to-one connection with people. So what I'm trying to tell you is boring is going to hold you back. It is going to keep you broke because people's attention spans are just so incredibly short. It's going to be your presence, it's your delivery that matters. The content is great, But content alone is usually not going to be enough. And what I want to be able to do is to give you some pointers on how to be able to break through that fourth wall, very much like an actor would do it, but very different than you think an actor might, because it's not all about performance. That comes across often as stagecraft and often as fake. Even actors who are great on stage have to learn to bring it small for the camera, because you're working in 2D. You're not working in 3 dimensions where you can move around and you can be big and you have to project to the back of the room. The real truth of the matter is the camera is not going to be a faceless audience for you. It's really a one-to-one conversation with a human being on the other side. I mean, put yes in the chat or put me in the chat if you like to watch videos with a whole group of people. I mean, I'm going to just see how many people watch it like you watch a movie theater movie. You know, are you in there? No, it's pretty much going to be yourself, and you're going to watch it when you want. And the screens could be anywhere from a large screen, most likely a laptop, or quite possibly one of these things. It's going to be small. So people are going to be honing in, and you've got to realize how to use that medium. You also want to keep this in mind. The focus is going to be on your eyes. If you're on stage, if you're in front of people in a boardroom, they're going to be watching your whole body. They're going to be watching the whole body language. But for the most part, when you're on camera, you're a talking head. And as human beings, we are looking directly to the eyes. Is this person really involved with what they're saying? And do we like them? Do we know what they're talking about? Do we trust them? Do we feel a connection? The camera is going to magnify everything. And so being able to deliver as an authentic human being is what counts. So what I want to do is, first of all, I think I told you already a little bit about myself. I want to emphasize polish is not your objective here. The way to build trust through the camera is authenticity, which we've heard so much about. What does that mean? It means being the real, natural human being. And if you're trying to stand out in a sea of sameness, or you're trying to compete with a lot of AI stuff out there, it's the human quality that's going to triumph. Because people get very tired of perfection. You can often tell when AI is doing something. They never take a breather. Or maybe the inflections is always the same. For example, I was hearing something and it was a young woman, and her voice was always ending on an upbeat, because a lot of young girls talk like this, and every sentence ended up like that. And that was because they were cloning some AI voice, and it was modeling that pattern. It gets annoying after a while. As human beings, we like to see a train wreck. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. People naturally stop and think, to grab words, to stutter perhaps. You don't have to edit out every little filler word that you might use in there, like, you don't want to overdo it. But once in a while, it gives the impression that this is somebody who is authentic and human. They may not be perfect, but they are relatable. And oftentimes now the currency is being relatable. Somebody who's real, somebody that we feel is there, and they're not just putting up a facade. So today what I want to do is talk about methods to stop presenting and really start communicating, such in a way that you're going to be credible and compelling on camera. I'm going to be using some techniques that professional actors use. Again, not fake techniques, because the real truth about acting is reacting. And acting as a real human person in a situation, no matter how unusual or bizarre it might be. So it's being within yourself, doing less. The idea of less is more comes across very, very clearly, not just for performance, but also in communications. I want you to drop some artificial habits you might have learned. If you ever went to some speakeasy or some other speaking communications where you are taught to follow a certain structure, I don't want you to be out of your head thinking about something else. I want you to be focusing on your message and the person around on the other side of the camera, as if you're talking one-on-one with somebody. So it's all about human communication. And I also want you to be able to do it in such a way that you are compelling and that you do create a client-attracting communication. You do have assets that are going to build that trust because they get to know you. It's going to help shorten the sales cycle and just give you more visibility, because you're going to be out there and you're going to be out there comfortably as your authentic yourself. So Let me kind of launch into how I'm handling this and why. I generally have three types of clients. One usually comes because they just don't have the confidence. They're not comfortable on camera. They're afraid of making a mistake. They might even have some of that imposter syndrome going on. The second type is usually because they don't know how to work with the camera. It's not just how you set things up, but how do you frame it? Where do you look? How do you manage these things? And the third type would be, I just want to look for some extra things to really make a difference and get through the camera. So if any of these resonate with you, let me know which one. Put a chat in the chat. Number one, so I know how to gauge this as well. Number one, are you somebody who would like to get a little more comfortable and confident on camera? Number two, would you just like to know how to use the camera better? The equipment and how you show up on it. And number three, are you looking for those little tricks to really stand out? And you can use any combination of 1, 2, or 3. I just like to see where people are. So just throw it in the chat. Number one, perfect. Okay. 3, those special techniques. All right, got a couple of ones. And I am going to assume that there'll be a few more popping in as well. So I'm going to try to cover these 3 things. And I will focus a little more on where the interest seems to be the heaviest. All right, the 3 areas. Number one, I'm going to be talking about how to drop that self-judgment loop. That's going to be for the folks who are uncomfortable or not sure that they're that confident on camera. Number 2, I'm going to talk about how you work with the camera when you want to stop presenting and start conversing. And then number 3, the dynamic delivery techniques that I especially like, that I found make all the difference in the world. So let me go and let's chat. I think I've got about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Yep. Is that about right? Okay, yep. Perfect. All right, great. And if you got any questions, I know we'll probably have some at the end, but if there's something burning you want to ask, put it in the chat and Colleen, just flag me down and I'll make sure that I can see it, okay? All right, number 1, we've got a self-judgment loop going on. That means that instead of thinking of what we have to offer and talking to the camera, a lot of us have, especially for women, that mean teen girl taking up residence rent-free in our head. Or the guys, let's say it's a little devil on your shoulder. Either way, they're both saying, what are you doing? You can't be doing this. You don't look young enough. You don't have enough experience. You don't even speak well. And I think people are going to be laughing at you. You really should think twice about it. It's a running narrative. And all that's going to do is distract you. First of all, it's going to just take away any of the confidence that you might have had. It's going to tighten you up so that physically you're going to be looking very nervous, like that deer in the headlights. And it's going to break that connection with the people on the other end. The problem here is that you're dividing yourself into 2 people. Instead of being yourself, pouring yourself forth from your head and your heart directly to the individuals on the other side of the camera, you're having a conversation like little puppets here. This is you. Oh my goodness, this person is just not liking me. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? You're focused on yourself and you forget about the people on the other side. So people can tell when you are no longer talking to them. It sounds like you're trying to search for words. You are looking very nervous. You are giving off body language that shows that you're really not able to focus on what you're supposed to be doing. So we have physical and then we also have the psychological problems going on. Let me start off with the physical because often the times that takes care of the psychological problems. This is what I often suggest that you do even before you get in front of the camera. Water, H2O. It is the best thing that you can have before and during any kind of speaking engagement. I would suggest that you start at least 2 hours ahead of time, drinking plenty of water. If you are somebody who is on the circuit and you're speaking a great deal every day, you should always be drinking a lot of water. And if not, just at least start preparing 2 days in advance. Water is not only going to prepare your vocal equipment, it's going to prepare your entire body. Because when you are parched, when you're thirsty, it comes out in other ways. You may feel fidgety. Your muscles might get tight. You just become very nervous. You're tired. You're hungry. Your body is thirsty. By the time you feel thirst, it's already a little late. You have been thirsty. So you always take a stop no matter what you're doing and take a drink. It makes a world of difference. It gets rid of any of the frogs in your throat. And as soon as you do that, half the battle is going to be won. But that's not the whole thing. The physical preparation also extends to a little bit of exercise. Now, if you're athletic, and also depending on when you're going to be speaking, it's great to have some exercise earlier in the day. Seriously. It doesn't have to be hard. It could just be a walk around. Get the body moving. If you're into push-ups and sit-ups, if you're into Pilates, it doesn't matter. You want to get that nervous tension out of your body. And if you're not able to do that, or you don't have much time, there are certain things that you could do as you approach the camera and then when you're sitting down. So, if you're standing up, you can do some slow knee bends. You can bend over and touch your toes. But if you're sitting, and we'll do this together, and I encourage everybody to do so, try a few things like this. Just raise your shoulders really high up to your ears and drop them. Do that a few times, and you're going to automatically feel like, oh, the neck is moving, the shoulders are moving. Move side to side. Move that head around, up and down, side to side. Then move over into the face as well. If you've ever taken any children or grandchildren to, let's say, a museum, remember the Children's Museum? Let me know if you've ever been to one of these. Well, I know we have one in Atlanta. There's one in Cleveland, where I'm from. But if you go and you are looking at the body, Philly has a great one. Yep, my daughter's in school there. You probably will see there's some place where they learn the anatomy of the face. And there are even some levers where you can move eyebrows up and down. You want to move those up and down. So just looking surprised, looking angry, up and down relaxes your forehead. And you can do the whole thing with a face. So just have a big smile, like a clown on steroids. Hey! We got a cartoon face. Hey! And then frown. You're the Grinch. Real deep. Don't be afraid of those lines. Big and down. And your face is going to relax and you're going to feel less tension. Then we can move to the mouth because we're going to be using our mouth and our voice a lot. Now, you can do some of these things you might remember as a kid. Who remembers making raspberries or seeing kids make raspberries or just motor mouth? Gets the lips moving. It's also a little fun. And you can also warm up your voice when you go up and down a little bit of a scale. And I'm not a singer, just move the tongue around. In, out, side to side. In a circle. And I'm not afraid for this to be in video or camera. This is my favorite one. Pant like a dog. Yeah, try it. Boy, you're going to feel a lot more relaxed afterwards. So these are just some things that you can start with. Now, let's go back to the psychological thing. We got our body relaxed, but we're not quite there. We're still feeling our heartbeat. Try some breathing techniques. There are a couple that I like to share. One is just your typical basic breathing technique where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. And you might want to try it with me. So you breathe in, hold 2, 3, 4, and then out through the diaphragm 3, 4. You're going to find yourself a little more relaxed and your shoulders will drop. Another one, which is the relaxing breath, is also great if you're trying to go to sleep at night. It's similar, but the counts are different. You breathe in for 4, but you're going to hold for 7 long counts, 5, 6, 7, and exhale slowly for 8. And take your time. It just slows you down. Try that. And one psychological thing, I like to call it future memory. Imagine that you've already given your presentation. We've already done your video. And oh my gosh, oh, they're cheering for you. It was great. Everybody was there. They loved it. They want to know more. They're lining up in the back of the room. They're filling in your inbox with all kinds of requests. You feel good. Now take that and keep it as a memory. And when you're about to go live or record, think about, I'm remembering this. This is how it went. It went beautifully. And you have a little bit of confidence. Practice it a little bit. But sometimes just visualizing yourself being very successful and whatever you're doing being well received, that's all it takes, and it will make a big difference. So those are some things that I like to offer to you just to help drop that self-judgment loop. Evict that mean teen girl in your head. Flick that devil off your shoulder. We do not need them. There are other ways of being able to go forward without those distractions. So now let me move into the second part about stop presenting, stop conversing. How do we use this camera? How do we make it work for us instead of putting us right there in the spotlight? I want to talk a little bit about eye lines, the camera focus, and that one-person conversation that I mentioned a bit, because that's going to immediately increase the connection and the trust. All right, first of all, the biggest thing that I have seen people do, and I see this with a lot of speakers, is that they're not looking into the camera. They forget that the person is watching on the other side. And instinctively, we want to go to somebody's eyes, right? Anybody disagree with me? Probably not. And if you're in a Zoom room, you're going to have lots of little boxes. It's going to look like Jeopardy or the Brady Bunch. And naturally, I'm going to want to go down and there's Nicole or Colleen's up there. And the problem is, if I'm speaking and I'm looking at them because naturally, humanly, it feels the right thing to do, I'm not talking to anybody on this side of the camera because I look totally uninvolved. And if I'm watching you, I don't want to watch you necessarily speaking off to your side, especially if you're going to present more of a profile. For most people, that's not a good look. We want to look directly at the camera. Or if we're going to be honest about it, if we're creating a video, slightly from one side to the other, but more or less directly to the camera. Because that is where our focus is. That's where people are looking at us. So the big question is, all right, how do I do this? I've got maybe 25 different people here. They might be on different pages of the Zoom, and I want to be able to address them. Let me give you several ways of doing it. Number one, especially if you're just on a laptop, let's say you're traveling or that's all the equipment you got, what are you going to do? Well, first of all, you might want to use a mental image of a person you were just talking to. There's nothing wrong with looking at somebody over here on a Zoom box while they're talking, as long as you return to the camera when you're answering. Keep a mental image of themselves, of whoever they might be. Or if that's a little more difficult, put somebody in your mind that you would like to talk to. So for example, put in the chat, if you were just talking to somebody, and maybe it's for a video or you're a room full of people and you're trying to come up with somebody who likes you, wants to hear what you have to say, is supportive, needs what you have, who would that be? You know, do you have a favorite avatar? Do you have a best friend? Maybe your mother. It could be anybody. What are some of the people that you use? Nicole. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Just put it in there. Bueller. 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 Put whoever it is in your mind and then start speaking to them, because all of a sudden you will be less uptight and you will be able to converse more naturally, and it's going to come across as a conversation. So what if you can't do that? Here's another trick that you can use, especially for video. Take a picture of somebody, put it right next to the camera lens, and talk to them. A close-up of their face, talk to their eyes. That's all you need. Now, if you have a little more equipment, let's say you've got a second screen, which is what I'm using here. I've got my laptop, but I'm projecting on a second screen. You can use a camera, and there are a couple ways you can do it. You can put it on your laptop and then have the screen of the people behind you and try to manipulate it. You might find that the camera's blocking part of the screen and you've got to constantly move things around. But when you have a screen, like a Zoom screen you can move around, you can position so it's right next to the camera, above it, behind it, however your situation works. I personally like a little thing called a center cam. Teeny tiny little thing. It's like about the size of a dice. And I can have it coming down on that back screen right at eye level. And it doesn't block much of anything. So I can move different screens around and be able to talk to them. Because eye line is so darn important. By the way, you can...
Laura, I just want to
Yes.
interrupt. What did you
Yes.
say that was called?
I will put something in the link. It is called a center cam. And I will, let me just kind of put something in here, a quick little code. I like this. I like this so much, by the way. I have two of them. I've got one here in my office, and I also have one in my voiceover studio when I'm talking with clients. Let's see if that's going to go down. Come on. There we go.
I
It's
wonder if it's what I
pasting.
have already.
Yeah, you might already have it. It's terrific, and it's right now it's trying to paste from the phone. So
How does it hang
hopefully,
on there, Laura?
oh, it's like a little wire. If I were, yeah, I mean, I could switch the camera real quickly here. Okay, let's see what happened.
I
Da,
have
da,
a
da, da.
Logic cam, but it hangs with a clear acrylic. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Hold
because
on.
that's
I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna. There we go. Now it goes through. I'm gonna show you something real quick. I am going to take my video, and I'm gonna turn it to FaceTime, so it'll look like I'm not talking at the camera. It'll be really weird here. Let's see. Make sure that we're looking at the right thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. See me looking up. This is my desktop. Now I'm gonna take it around, and you guys will see yourselves. Do you see?
oh wow.
This is my screen. And you see, I don't know if you can see the little camera. Let me try to hold my laptop. Because, of course, right now, let me just, I got a better idea. Hold on one second. Let me move this up so you can see it. Because right now it's kind of black on black. And it's a little hard to see. So let me move you guys way up. There we go. There. Do you see it?
Yep.
See how little it is?
That's so teeny.
It
It is
is
so
teeny.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little affiliate link. I may make a few cents. It's a great camera. I'm just telling you honestly.
Yeah.
Do you see it has on it's a little wire? It's bendable. You can make it shorter or longer, and it has like an easy little clamp on the top, and it plugs in by USB. I love
I
it,
love
and I'm
that. I
happy to
think I need
share it.
that.
Yeah, I've looked at lots of different cameras. I've tried them, and I'm going to go back to the center cam. And then all you have to do when you're on Zoom is go back to it, and I'm looking at you properly. So I like to give out some things like that. It's really a great little camera. Okay, now back to our show. First of all, are there any questions about the eye lines and things like that? I just want to make sure that I'm not going to miss anything that anybody would like to know.
No, I love
Okay.
that. I just have a question about this camera. And so it's actually the USB cord that's coming up over the top. And so you can lower it as long
Oh,
as
no,
you
no. It's on its own little wire. I honestly, should be
So
getting
can you
it.
make it hang lower?
Yes, yeah, you can make it longer and shorter.
Okay.
You can
That,
turn it
that
from
was my question.
side to side and all that. I've got a curved screen, so I got to play with it so that it doesn't look like I'm on a roller coaster with my backdrop.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can adjust it and make it as long or as short as you want. Easy to travel, super small. Okay. All right, enough of that. But do let me know if you got any questions. Okay. Alrighty. So that is probably one of the most important things when it comes to working with a camera. I want to be mindful of my time too. So I'm going to talk a little bit about framing. Framing is what you're seeing in your Zoom box. Basically this. You know the mind. What you want to keep in mind is that small is huge on camera. So if you're a big hand talker, please don't go moving your hands all around on camera. It might look great on stage, but oh my gosh, it's driving me crazy. Take a squeeze ball, take a pen, and then take it below frame and squeeze the dickens out of it. Because that way nobody has to see it and you're still getting your heebie-jeebies resolved. It doesn't matter if you're moving it down below. It's natural for people to see shoulders moving. And in fact, that's better than somebody who's stiff as a board. Another thing that I'd like to share with you with the frame, sit nicely and try to make sure you don't have too much space above your head. So you can see like right up here, I only have like a little bit of space above my head. And I try to frame it so my eyes are centered to yours. I'm showing the torso. You can see some background. That is ideal. Play around with it. You also want to make sure your lighting is correct and your sound. There's all kinds of things we could talk about with backdrop. There are ways that you can handle this when you're traveling. I have been able to have all kinds of sessions in the car. Yes, in the car. In hotels, different places. And you can even set up one room, like my office here, so it looks like different rooms. And you don't have to do much. It's just a matter of angles. Now, a lot of people like to use backdrops. I am more in favor of the real background, just because it seems like it's real and people aren't waiting for you to disappear into your edges and what else is showing up, what's really back there. But that is personal preference. So the whole idea is to be able to come across as somebody who's having a glass of water or a cup of tea in a coffee shop, talking with you honestly. So let me get into the dynamic delivery. And that is the third piece, to really hold attention. And here's another little secret I want to share. Emotion drives so many different things. Of course, we have to have our content, but content and information is usually not enough. If you just want information, AI is great for that. You don't care about the delivery. But we are wired as human beings to listen to stories. We are fascinated with how people have gone from point A all the way to point Z. And that hero's journey goes up and it goes down. So you want to take your audience along with you. You want to build in those stories. But they're driven by two things. One, an intention. They're usually designed to serve a purpose. I want to help you get better on camera. I want to tell you about my foibles or how I got over some nervousness. I can tell you a story about how I jumped out of a rowboat fully dressed in a suit with a laptop for a commercial just to get to Doritos. You want to know about that. I could tell you about the latest commercial where I was coming up out of the bushes wearing camouflage. Huh? It's a story, and I can lead you into it about taking risks, not worrying what you look like, having fun. Our time is short today, so I kind of cut those out. But what that will do is give emotional engagement. People are along for the ride. They're with you. They're not just receiving it as information, as data. They're with you every step of the way. And that's where the dynamic delivery comes in play, because it holds attention. When you are speaking, and I think a lot of you will probably already know this, change up your volume. When you are talking about something you're very excited about or it's personal, there's nothing wrong with speaking a little bit louder because you're so darn excited. But if you're going to be giving some information that maybe is a little more intimate, you're going to drop. The same thing goes with your pacing. When you're telling a funny story, you're probably going to be having all levels of an energy. And when you get to the part that's coming to the punchline, you can't help but maybe speed up. But if you're giving a technical presentation, you want to go slower to make sure people are following. And when you're speaking, even to video, imagine that audience, even if you can't see them and it's just a little light. Are they following you? Make sure that whatever you're saying makes sense. And when you start speaking, perhaps as a communicator, as a teacher, as a helper, people respond in kind. You're not just throwing information out there. When I do training videos, when I do e-learning, which is just the voiceover for training for corporations, when I'm helping other folks, I make sure that they understand something before I go on. And if you don't have an audience in there, build it in. That is going to set you apart because it shows that you are listening to them because they are talking to you, even if it's in their head. I also love the power of the pause. It's fun. First of all, you can go on and on about something and then just kind of stop and people are was there something technically wrong? Whoa, did she forget what she was going to say? Don't be overly dramatic. But it makes people get out of their head, stop scrolling, figuring, what, did I miss something? They might even go back. Use it judiciously. But it's great for building up suspense to get to a major point. Or if you're going to be speaking live and you got a lot of things to talk about, it gives you a chance to collect your thoughts. The other thing that you can do, for example, you are speaking and you try to figure out how do I keep track? How do I keep my eyes on the camera? How do I keep track of everything? I can't read my stuff. Have a list of things either posted next to the camera or there's nothing wrong with confidently and authoritatively, I speak for a living, hold something up, which might just say, okay, I'm talking about this, and refer to it once in a while. There is nothing wrong, but actually something very compelling about somebody who's just, looks at their notes, takes a second, and goes back to it, because you're confident enough to be able to stop to do that. It holds attention. It's an energy shift. You're sharing something, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid also to be a little playful. AI is probably not going to be playful, or the humor is going to be very forced. So if you're going to do something silly, like panting like a dog, you do it. It keeps people interesting. If you want to talk about something that happened to you, You can even act it out a little bit, but don't be afraid to be yourself. Because so right now out there, it's a sea of sameness. People are so concerned about being perfect, getting their message across, or having every single point understood that they lose what they're trying to achieve. I have a client, her name is Patricia, and she's a VP of a nonprofit, a PhD. She knows her things backwards and forwards. However, she is just so into being perfect that she forgets how to be herself. And a lot of her work was in person for presentations, but also in video. And she wanted to read everything on a long slide or to have a script behind there and read it all. And she was losing people left, right, and center. What we had to do was very simple. You know your stuff. You're already an expert, right? You could talk about it. If I were to ask you a question, like interview style, yes, you, Patricia, go on and on and on. I think a lot of us can. So just drop into that. If you're on stage, have a little props you can move around with. If you're speaking to somebody, you know your things, put just a few reminders up there. Have it like that. And talk to somebody who has a problem you're trying to solve. This is something that voice actors especially are going to do. What came before you began your presentation? What question was asked? What does the audience need to know? Make it up. You probably know a lot of the things people ask you, and then start speaking as if you're already answering it. All these things are going to set you apart because you're going to come across as a real person, somebody who has a sense of humor, somebody who has confidence to be able to bring other things into the conversation and to talk to you as if you're already there. And it's going to make a huge difference when people are watching you. So just remember, as I'm going to wrap up here, we have an AI saturated world. It's a great tool. It should never be used to substitute for you, especially in a creative sense. But the more AI is out there, the more people see it and get sick of it. And they are. We're seeing it as voice actors already coming back to us. Presence, not polish, is what's going to make people want to trust you, remember you, and eventually choose you. So be a human and don't be afraid to make the foibles, to stutter, to think about things, and to make a mistake. Even if it's a technical problem, recover. Remember, people love a train wreck. So
I love that.
Those are the kinds of things that I love to help people with. And if you have any questions or comments, let's have it.
I have a couple questions for you, but before we dive into those, I just want to say that I used to not like my voice. I have a very unique voice. It's a lot deeper and not super feminine and all the things. And I used to really not like it. And then I started doing, when I had my shop, I hired a radio station to do commercials for me. And I was in the shop when the first commercial played, and it was horrible. It was literally a man saying, "Down at Chicken Lips today, the can jeans are on sale for," and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Pull that. Do not play that," with my store name in it. And they're like, "Well, what else are we going to do? I mean, he does our commercials." I said, "I'll do my own." So I created my own commercials with my employees. And what happened was, one time I was 3 hours from home at a Starbucks ordering, and a young girl came running up to me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the Chicken Lips lady." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "I know your voice anywhere." And I was like, and so I really,
Yeah.
and it's so much a part of my branding. And so if there's anybody here that's like, "Oh, I hate my voice," or "I need to make sure and clear it so it sounds like," no, it's just a part of who we are. And it really is a huge part of our branding, just our voices. All right, Carl, you
Yes.
have a question. I'll let you go first, and then I've got 3 questions for Laura. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Carl.
okay. First of all, great presentation, Laura.
Thank
Um,
you.
I when I first started doing Zoom, I hated being on Zoom. I mean, I've got a face for radio, so
Yeah.
perfect for radio. But and when I was used to be in television production business, I wrote scripts and we interviewed spokesmodels, and it amazed me. We did a commercial locally here one time, and we did an audition. We did a casting call. And it amazed me how these so-called professionals were really not that great. I mean, we were exasperated after going through tons of people. And our cameraman had a daughter, and I didn't know his daughter. he said, could my daughter audition? And I thought, oh boy, here we go with the nepotism and we're going to have a problem. I
Yeah.
said, well, set her up in your backyard, have her do this, right? She was better than any of the professionals. Okay. I mean, I used to tell people if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, get comfortable. If you can't get comfortable, hire a professional that is comfortable. And the other thing I would say is don't read your damn script.
Oh, no.
Learn your script, okay? Use it as a guideline because people know when you're reading a script. I mean, politicians do it, everybody does it. You know when it's being done. And people tune out. Do you not agree?
I totally agree with you. And I tell people, unless you're trained and really good at using a teleprompter, do not try anything like it. The only people who like having stuff read to them are little children in bed with their mom or grandma or daddy or grandpa telling them a story. We
Yeah,
hate being read to. We don't like being told what to do. And you're diminishing us when you do that.
yeah.
But you're also right about a lot of people who might have the polish and they learn things one way. They don't know how to open up and be themselves on camera. And in fact, what's really big and popular right now, and I don't know when you did it, but the big presentation mode is gone. They want real people. They want they want people who don't look like actors, who don't sound like actors.
Yeah, I used to hire
Yeah.
spokesmodels for my videos just because I didn't want to be in front of the camera, but I have perfected imperfection. Okay.
You are
And
in
so,
vogue.
so
You are
I
in
just
vogue. They
don't,
want people from all
this
over.
is what you're going to get. I'm sorry. This is what it is. If you don't like it, turn it off.
Well, actually, it's come to where people are looking for people that are everyday that they can
Yeah.
identify with. People don't want to look at perfect and polished, and I see that all the time when it comes to casting calls on camera or for voiceover. We want to see interesting people. We want interesting voices. There is no such thing as perfect. We want
One more
real.
thing on the AI that I totally agree with you. I had somebody actually took my likeness and did a video, and
Yes,
it was not only creepy,
yes.
but I mean, it sounded like me and it looked like me, but it was not me.
Oh, yeah. It's that uncanny valley.
Yeah.
People have a BS meter that can tell when something is trying to imitate the real thing and doesn't admit it's not real. We can tell when something is off. There's just something there, and it just makes us feel a little bit of creep.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I agree.
it
Well, thank
does.
you.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, Laura. Um, First question, what's the one thing everyone in your industry is doing that you call complete BS on? And why are they
Okay,
still doing it?
okay. And let me ask you, the industry, are we talking about people who are acting or the people that are communicating on camera?
Communicating on camera.
Okay. Trying to be something you're not. Okay. Everybody wants to be the big dinosaur, and oftentimes we're the little lizard with a light. We're shining it up on the wall, making shadow puppets. Um, Everybody is trying to pad. Not everybody. There are a lot of people out there that are trying to fool you, and they are trying to, uh, you know, pad with things that aren't really, I know, I keep saying the word authentic, or genuine, or honest. And they are editing so tightly so that every little word, every human aspect of themselves is cut out. So they almost look like, oh, remember back from the early days of MTV? What was the guy? The guy who was speaking at I forget his name, but he was like an early AI version, and he kept stuttering. I cannot remember his name.
I don't remember his name either.
Yeah, but I think you know who I'm talking about. It's artificial.
Max Headroom.
Max Headroom.
There's got to be one here that knows. Thank you.
Yes, Max Headroom. He was entertaining because it was so new and different, but people are chopping themselves up so they're coming across like Max. And unless that's what you're going for, it's just not a good look. Just you be yourself. I mean, and you got to work on certain things. If you have a problem showing up, if your head is all the way down here, that's a problem. If you're giving them a boob shot, that's probably not what you're trying to go for. Or bad lighting or bad sound. But mostly it's people trying to pretend to be something they're not, thinking they got to be perfect.
All right. Okay, number two. What's a
Yeah.
mistake that cost you serious money or time that you kept making anyways because you were too proud or scared to admit it wasn't working?
That's a good question. Huh. What was I too afraid to scared because I didn't think it was going to be working? I'm trying to figure out the best way to answer that one. Um, I can just say it was just, well, I'm trying to come up with a specific example because I've done some crazy things. Uh, I can tell you sometimes these things just happen. Um, I was trying to have a session with people. Oh, let's see. This is supposed to be on camera. Let me just see. For speaking, say the question again so I can
Okay.
give you the
What's a
right answer.
mistake you made that cost you serious money or time that you kept making anyways because you were too proud or scared to admit it wasn't working?
Okay. See, I wanted to go back into the acting thing because I started booking a lot of things right away without getting training, and I thought that was, oh, I don't need it. You run up against a brick wall real fast. Um, and I've been a lot more careful with this just because I started what I'm doing here a little bit older and wiser. So, what have I done? Probably, I could tell you, I still do it. I'd like to share. I like to teach. Um, Instead of sometimes you're in these places where you're supposed to sell. I don't like being sold to. I don't like selling to people. And I probably have left a lot of money on the table because I honestly just like to share what I know and tell people and help them. So that's probably the biggest thing I've ever done, and I probably still do it. I'm not here to sell.
And how do you
I'm here
get
to
past
share.
that? Because I feel
How
the
do,
same way. Like I love to teach. I hate to sell. I feel like if I
yeah,
teach you things, then you know what I know
I'll
and
tell you.
you
I'll
want to
tell
come
you.
into my world.
I've been in a program which is how to speak, how to sell from stage, how to speak. It's mostly from speaking, and I found out it was really more selling. And I find that the people teaching it are very hard lined, and I don't like that. When I was in sales, the corporate world, it was all about consultative sales, relationship selling. I'm not pushing something at you. Tell me what you need. Here are the possibilities of how I can help you, and let's tailor it. And if it fits for you, then this is how it can go forward. That's how I like to proceed. When I work with people, it's one on one, very customized, because no two people are the same. And I found that a lot of these programs, you get somebody on the line and you do not let them go. You call them and you call them and you call them and you call them until they tell you to basically to F off. And that's not the kind of person I am. Um, I'm learning to take from that what I feel comfortable with and use it. And there are techniques that I'm learning that you could put in to make something that you can also push your own business as well as just sharing. It's a problem a lot of women especially have because we want to help, we want to support, we want to share, and we don't want to just, you know, we don't want to feel like we're taking advantage. But it's not. We're solving a problem. So the answer, of course, is when you talk with somebody afterwards, you just dive in. It's that relationship selling. What is it that you're having trouble with? Let's peel back the onion. What's the core issue? Is it an emotion? Is it a fear? Is it not knowing something? Is it not having the money to be able to get started the right way? Is it mindset? Talking with them and talking with them. Those are the kinds of things that like I've been learning. And I'm still there. I mean, I was a former salesperson, but you know what? I'm not twisting arms. I'm not going to be the Sunday, Sunday, Sunday buy a used car kind of person. And yeah, still in
I
progress.
well, and I think that there's room in the world for both ways. I like to think that, but I mean, obviously I get clients too, but I don't like to be salesy. I just don't like to be pushy.
Oh, I
And I
know
don't
it.
like to be sold to that way. If I walk in, for instance, when I go buy something, I usually go in and know exactly what I want and just tell them exactly what
Exactly.
I want up front. Just save yourself the hassle and this is what I want, you know?
Yeah. And I think it was Nicole was talking about, yeah, there's a reason why these car videos work, why the sales thing, because people, they're in their face and they're selling and it's very aggressive and it gets results. But
Yeah.
you got to do what's right for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you could only give one piece of advice to someone in your industry, but it would go completely against the grain, what would it be and why is that worth the backlash?
Okay. I would tell this even to the most wealthy CEO, button up suit. Have fun. Seriously, enjoy what you're saying, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy what you're sharing, because that is infectious. And it doesn't mean you have to go bonkers, but have a good time. If you're not having fun, people can see that you're holding back and you're reluctant. When you're enjoying yourself, people want to join in. And that also makes you so much more personable and attractive.
Yeah, that is so true. I love that. I love that. Does anybody have any questions before we close out? It does not look.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Carl.
Um, this is another whole topic probably for you, but being as it used to be in my world, what do you think about scripting when people do write a script? Like I believe in the call to action scripts, and they should be a minute or less. Commercials are a
Yes,
minute or less. But how do you
yes.
feel about scripting when people go to script what they're going to say?
I think it's fine for practice as long as they don't memorize. I
Yeah,
much prefer the bullet points.
right.
And it's much easier to remember. And one thing I would tell them, and this is what I use all the time as an actor, and especially as a voice actor when I only have the microphone to deal with, think in pictures, think in stories. Every little sentence by itself means something, and have an image. And then it conveys a reason why you would go from one point to the next. There are a lot of different memorization techniques that are kind of fun. Like you might have 5 points, and you don't want to talk about more than 3 to 5 in a presentation. It gets confusing. But maybe you're going to imagine you're going to be walking through your house, the front door. What's at the front door? That is your first point. Talk about it. You open the door, and maybe now you're in your hallway. That's your second point. You are looking over to your right, there is a living room. Walk into your living room. Whatever that third object is, think of that. If there's a fourth one, maybe you're running to the restroom, or the fifth one's in the kitchen. You could take yourself through that so that there is an anchor for every particular thing you want to talk about. Or make it into a story where, let's say, you're on a beach and you're watching a turtle, and the turtle is moving here, and then there's something about what you're talking about. The turtle is moving to an umbrella or a chair, and there's something in your thoughts that relates to it, and it acts as an anchor. And so I would never read a script unless you know what you're doing. And I do a lot of teleprompter work, and to me, it's the perfect love child between on-camera acting and voiceover, you know. But for most folks, it's going to trip them up, and their eyes going to go, and they're going to fall into all the traps that I've mentioned. So keep a list of a few things, put it here if it helps, next to your camera, or just use a memorization technique. But you should know it well enough so that if you're just so nervous you're going to be afraid, just a few bullet points would do it, but do not script. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
my pleasure.
All righty, all righty. Thank you so much, Laura. This has been simply amazing. And I appreciate everybody showing up to support Monday Morning Business Foreplay. If today's conversation has helped you to see something differently or make a clearer decision, then this hour has done exactly what it was supposed to. I know I'm going to be taking the things that we learned and practicing them in my master class on Wednesday. So I'm going to practice them ahead of time because I'm really bad about reading things. But I have set everything up in bullet points. So there's that. I'm going to try to do better. I don't like speaking on camera at all. Actually, I have the gift of gab. I love to talk, don't get me wrong, but just not on camera. So this has been super fun. Thank you, Laura. Do you have a lead magnet or a way for
I
people to
do.
connect with you?
I
Let's put
do.
that
I
in the
do.
chat. And then
Yes.
everybody save the chat. You can just click the three dots at the top